All right. So, in case you were lost, this is our School Accountability Committee meeting. And so just welcome. I think everybody signed the attendance sheet on the way in. And I think I mentioned already, I've got to read a book here at about 7:15 or so. So I'm going to fly through this. But if we have any questions, feel free to jump in. So on my personal agenda, I've got the budget and enrollment update. I'm just going to talk a bit about math, talk about benchmark, and talk about EPRs. Those are kind of the big rocks in in my world right now. So first things first, our final enrollment number, so this was done in October, is 501. So it's the first time we've been over 500 students in a really long time. I had to go back in the annals of time, and it was my second year here. So that was 6 years ago. So that's been quite a long time. So we are getting a pretty significant sum of money from the district based on our over projection, because you remember our projection was 466. And so we're over that. I was hoping to have that number by now so I could add it in here, but we don't have that yet. Hi, how are you?
I got lost. Good.
No worries. So just some of the considerations with that extra funds, we may fill out 2 more EA positions. Just right now, we are 1 EA short of having a dedicated EA for every grade level. So we may want to do that. We had a position open earlier, and then our EA said, no, we're fine. We don't want another person. But then they came back a few weeks later and said, no, we really actually probably need an extra person. So we may explore that route. We may see if we can look into some more special education help. I'm not sure if we're allowed to do that, but we're going to just at least look into it. We just have a lot of impacted kids, more so than we are anticipating just with the COVID and other things like that. We just want to make sure we support our kids the best way we can. We are really, really doing a lot for staff gifts and encouragement. We're spending a lot of money on our Christmas party for staff just because they are tired and they are working really, really hard and doing a great job. We just want to make sure that they feel valued and taken care of. The other piece is we are short on subs as a district, and so we have been paying our teachers who have to do double duty. So there's times when our non-classroom teachers have to cover classrooms, and so we pay them extra responsibility pay for that, and so that's costing us a lot of money. Because it's a decent sub rate for them, but we have to do it. And we want to have, we don't want to split the classes up so our teachers have, 35 kids. We just want to just bring a non-classroom teacher in there to teach the classes. And so we're going to put some money aside for sub pay. And then I put SPED help and SPED support on there. So we may try to look as a classified SPED help as well. So we're going to try to play with all those things a little bit to see. We're looking at roughly around $300,000 from the district because we're so far over projection. But again, I don't know those final numbers yet. When we get into our February SAC meeting, I should have our budget finalized nearly. And so we can take a look at that and see where all our money actually ended up going to. Any questions on that piece with our enrollment? It's a really good place to be. It's really nice to have that many kiddos. All right, so moving on. From there, we have our iReady Winter Diagnostic coming up. It's a huge number for us. It's our 3-time-a-year assessment. The entire district does iReady, all the way from elementary, middle school. SHAP does it, but not quite for everybody. I learned that the other day. But for us, it's our litmus test to see how our benchmark curriculum is working. Helps us identify any students needing more extension or remediation. And then also helps us determine next steps for our stallion time. So for those of you who are not familiar, our stallion time is our intervention time. That way we have all of our interventionists kind of flood into the grade level. We have a half hour for every single grade, every single day. And so they have a chance to work with those students who are needing some help or some extension help. The best part about that is the students never miss any grade level instruction. They're not pulled out at any time for the most part. And then the last piece of that is just making sure is our hard work paying off. That's really important to us and see all the stuff we've been working. And then we take that the first week of December, which is the last week of November, that week after Thanksgiving break, I guess I should say. All right, so any questions on the iReady Winter Diagnostic? Sweet, moving right along. Okay. From there, mask update, we have 92% of our students are wearing masks. We have Just a few medical opt-outs, not a ton. We only have one staff member who is opted out. Our parents have been really, really good with us. Moving from there, our just next step is just wait and see kind of what happens. We just roll with the punches. We're at the bottom of the political hill. And so we just wait till people who make way more money than we do tell us what to do, and then we just follow those. Like I said, our parents and our staff and our student have been really, really good and supportive. So it's really not much of an issue for us. And we have not had we were outbreak status in October. We have not had an outbreak status since. We've had obviously our fair share of cases, but nothing to raise any alarms in any grade levels. Knock on wood. Next, I think we talked about last time that we are implementing the benchmark curriculum. So we just finished, for the most part, Unit 3. Most of our staff is finishing Unit 3 by the end of this week, which they'll start Unit 4 after Christmas, since that's our big government unit. So any of our kids in our entire building are all doing the same type of things. So if you talk to them about it, you'll hear about that government unit. We realized the other day just how rigorous this was. We sat and went through all of our literacy blocks through the course of the day. It was just the rigor in our 6th grades talking about Aristotle, and it's just a lot. We just haven't had that kind of rigor in this building in a really, really long time. And so the work production that the kids are putting out is excellent, but it's also really hard. And we have some of our gifted kids who are typically scoring off the charts, and some of our previous curriculum are now just about where they should be. So it's been a little eye-opening for our teachers, but it's great. And our kids are kind of getting used to the rigor. And so what we're kind of waiting for is the district right now is piloting 3 different curriculums. Benchmark Advanced, which is the K through 6 version, Benchmark Workshop, which is the K through 5 version, and then there's a completely different one called Wonders. And so those 3 are being piloted through the district. And so they're going to choose maybe 1, maybe 2, maybe all 3 at some point, and then that's going to be our determination moving into next year. We will stay with Benchmark Advanced for the entirety of this year. And then whatever the district decides moving forward, we're going to go with that. We're pretty hopeful that it's going to be Benchmark. Our staff really likes it. All the other staffs that are doing Benchmark really like it. But then at the same time, all the people doing Wonders likes theirs too. So we're keeping our fingers crossed that it's both. But again, we have a new school board. We're not sure the direction they're going to take, and we're hoping they'll back more than one. But we don't know. We just keep plugging away. It's been some great success. I have a few meetings about that. Ashley and I presented to all the other principals in the district last week. I have another meeting after Thanksgiving break as well. So we just keep advocating for our staff. They worked hard. All right. Questions on that? Okay. Moving on. EPR. So for those of you who are new to our building or new to our district, our EPR is our Elementary Progress Report. It is how we essentially communicate our semester progress. And so it's a little bit different. It's very different from the high school or the middle school. It's not an A, B, C, D letter grades. It is either exceeds, meets, approaching, or does not meet. So it looks a little weird. So what we try to do is make it as simple as possible. So under each content area, whether it's ELA, math, science, and social studies, we've tried to whittle down the report card, so we're only reporting out on the 4 major standards that are covered. So under the standards, there's at least 7 or 8 different indicators for each standard. So that just makes the report card humongous. And so we try to whittle that down and hope our teachers just put forth comments in that. And so we always look at it that the EPR should not be the first time you're hearing about any of these things. Our teachers are usually pretty good about communicating with parents, and so typically we don't get a lot of traffic on our EPRs, but we just want to encourage parents to just make sure they look at them, because we get about a 10 to 15% look at rate, for lack of a better word. So spread the news to your neighbors to please look at those, even if they could just open them up and just tell the teachers that you looked at them, so they feel like all that work is justified, because it really takes them a long time.
When are those coming out?
They will be live through the parent portal on December 18th at midnight. Not to be specific, but it's always the evening after the last day of school. So they'll be live. So you have to go through your parent portal account, which is about 32 steps to get there, which is why we typically don't get a lot of traffic.
I think too, though, in the past I've always struggled with knowing when they were ready.
Yeah.
So I never realized that it was the last day after the last day. So I would feel like after we July, you're like, oh.
Yeah, and they'll be live once it's out published. You can look at it at any point in time. All right. So questions on that? Okay. Yeah, this is way easier than I thought it was going to be. All right. So teacher update, Mrs. Jakubowski.
Teacher update. So in talking with the team, third and sixth grade, there was definitely some common themes of things they wanted me to share. First of all, the Halloween parties and fall festivities, they just loved. Their kids loved, the teachers loved. They felt like it was really community building and celebratory, and so that was fun. We haven't been able to have families in the building, or our primary kids did the parade out on the blacktop, and so that was good for everybody. They also wanted to talk about benchmark. So at our last professional development day, teachers spent half of their day working with a trainer from benchmark, specifically on fine-tuning their small group instruction. So they loved that. The teachers got great ideas of how they can do some of the small group activities with the different texts they have and some of the different phonics activities, and they came back and tried them. And it was great because, like Josh mentioned, when he and I went through classrooms, we see teachers applying everything that they learned at the PD. So that was great. And it's just incredible to see what the kids are working on. I mean, you probably see it coming home with them, but the level of rigor is great. And then we haven't forgotten about math either. We are lucky enough here, we have 2 teachers serving on our district math committee cohort. And part of the opportunity they have on that team is to be a teacher voice in district math discussions, but they also receive extra training. And so they've been receiving extra training for Ready Math, which is our non-curriculum, and then they come back and they've been teaching our teachers. So on our last PD day, they did spend an hour to 2 hours, depending on the grade level, with teams planning out enrichments or interventions or extra math centers and activities, just really looking at student data and kind of deciding what other things do they want to change to be better at teaching math. And so that's been fun to see, and developing some of that teacher leadership here in our staff as well. And then I know this week, when you walk around the building, you'll see lots of things about gratitude and feeling grateful and what are you thankful for, as everybody's preparing for, this Thanksgiving time of year. And that's been neat to see as well. And I think our wellness teacher always does a nice job of talking with kids and staff about feeling grateful and the science behind how that really, helps your brain and positivity. And so that's been neat to see too. Because teachers are working hard and the kids are working hard. Everyone's feeling pretty good.
So some of the things that you guys might see coming up is, in the past, we've had what's called Cte Teams, and we've divided up our kids into 3 different teams, and they can kind of work together to gain points. If you're familiar with the Harry Potter movies, where when they do something good, they get points for their houses. And so that's how we've divided up our school into 3 different houses or teams. And we've not done that in a couple of years just with COVID, but we're bringing that back starting in December. We will have the kids come to the gymnasium, and we will have our teachers sit on our sorting saddle, and they will be decided into teams, and then kids can then earn points for their team. And that's a K-6 model. So it's kind of 3 separate teams there. And so we'll start rolling those things out just for more positive behavior pieces that our kids can do. And then we'll start competing in some challenges between teams and celebrate kids' wonderful behavior. So that's coming out. We also have our spelling bee coming up. We've got some academic excellence things as well. Ms. Jakubowski was lucky enough to present at the GT conference last week, basically on all the things that we are doing to support our gifted learners. We outperformed the district last year for growth for our GT students. We spend a lot of time working on our students that have some unique needs, but we also do a lot to support our gifted students. And so she was able to present at the national conference, which was pretty fun. She doesn't know this, but our former assistant principal was denied entry into that conference. And so that was kind of funny. That's just an inside joke between us, but it's always nice when we are able to present. And we were the only school in the district asked to present on that piece. So that was a lot of fun. So
we're really proud of the work we did, so it was fun to share with them.
Yeah, and we had a lot of people in the session, which is kind of weird. All right. I think that's it, right? Okay, so from there, DAC update. Do you want to talk about this one, or do you want me to talk about this one?
You talk about this one because there's not been a meeting since you're right.
All right.
But there's one Thursday, I'll do that.
All right. So Deb Ormsby is our DAC representative, and so she gets the honor of attending a second meeting next week. And so what the district is asking us to do is we have some extra ESSER funds. And so if you remember, this hasn't been too long ago. Let me share this tab. So the district has asked us to put this questionnaire out to you as our SAC to decide on input on where we should prioritize the spending for the federal stimulus funding or the ESSER 2 or ESSER 3 funds. So in the past, when we originally got some of the ESSER funds that went to ventilations, which you can hear in this room now, and I'm not sure where it is. Oh, it's right here. Ventilation, we've got masks, we've got all the plexiglass, and all those COVID protocols was put into place with the original round. But then they came back with a second round that's a lot larger funds for us. And so the district wants to ask you as SAC members to respond on what our priority should be and where they should put the money towards. And so I have a survey to fill out. So it looks just like this. Before I jump into that, is there any questions on this?
What are your, I guess, wish lists?
Yeah, it's on. It'll be right in here. Yeah. So it's not. Yeah, they've got some different options in there, and it's just how the district wants to do it. So we'll go through this. What?
Yeah,
All right.
yeah, I can tell. My eyes are totally. You just do DC or to a DCSD build up or whatever it is, not that, whatever it is.
All right, and then we'll do the school. All right, so we're doing this together. All right, so here is our order. So there's 6 different things. So the first one is base support and scholarship. So the base program is the before and after care. So if you utilize that, that's Miss Denise out in the red and white trailer. She services about anywhere between 20 and 70 kids. She's done an excellent job. And so the support would be just to funnel some more money into there and then distribute it district-wide because it's a self-sustaining program. And so meaning that parents have to pay for that service. And then scholarships would be to offer some daycare options for families who can't typically afford it. So over break, we have no school, but that stays open, but parents have to pay for it. But if they can't afford it, then they're stuck with no daycare options. And so that would be where the money goes there. A COVID response, and that would be sanitation supplies and additional pay for nurses. So just like everyone else in our district, we work harder for less money. And so our nurses don't get paid a ton. And so that would be money for there. And then sanitation supplies, that would be masks. That would be some of the spray, some of the hand sanitizer that Mr. Barton has, more plexiglass, things like that. Yes, ma'am.
So Mr. Martin does need a lot more hand sanitizer because we are using oil pastels and that's what we use.
That is definitely a good point.
I wasn't sure, because you looked our way.
Yes.
I wasn't sure who you were talking to. Do you get to pick what that, if you know, the school gets COVID response money, do you get to pick what it goes to?
No,
Or
this
they
is
say-
just a recommendation to the district, and then the district will decide based on the surveys for the entire district of where the money goes.
So if say COVID response money is what it gets decided to, and they say, well, we're gonna pick sanitation supplies, but you're like, well, our school really doesn't need sanitation supplies, we need nurse money.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter, you get sanitation supplies?
Yes.
Okay.
So we're just going to offer our opinion and go from there. From there, licensing and software and tech supports for some online learning needs. And so with the shift, sometimes if schools have to go to whether it's a hybrid model or an online model, making sure there's platforms and licensing available. We here at Cherokee Trail use what's called Haparo, which is a cost to us, which then monitors all of our 4th, 5th, and 6th graders' computers. And so, you know, clearly they never do what they're not supposed to. But if they just so happen to make the mistake, it alerts our teacher that they are not on a website. And so then they are able to close that stuff down remotely. That's just an example of one of the things that we use, or whether it's any other one of our online learning platforms. So that would be that piece. Supplemental mental health support, that would be boosting, I'm not sure if it's the pay rate or just the allocation is essentially our mental health support right now is a 1.0. So we've got a one person serving our 501 population, which is a large ratio. And I'm sure it's probably just as low at Shepro.
I think on that one, I think they're talking about if that was to be a priority. I know that there's a big committee in the district right now talking about the need for additional mental health support. So, and I guess after you're done, Cheryl, I'd be interested to hear if you are feeling like there is a need for additional mental health support.
Absolutely. I will just tell you straight out, we are always in need. We have a SEL teacher that we hired because we just can't get enough mental health support. Our counselor, Ms. Snyder, is literally busy all day, every day. And she has 2 interns working with her, and they're all 3 busy all day, every day. I mean, just the needs are outstanding. And I can imagine if you walk into any school, they're all saying the same thing. Our kids have been in a pandemic for years, and just being able to undo all of those things and how do you interact with people and all this stuff is it's just a lot. Targeted summer programming, that would be for kids who need some remedial help with summer school and paying those teachers to work summer school and any sort of counseling or tutoring or anything to catch kids up. That would be that piece. And that goes along with the next one, targeted tutoring and student support. We have probably right now about 15 teachers who get money from the district to tutor students outside of school. They get a decent salary on that. It's $45 an hour. They're allowed to do 4 hours a week. So that's pretty good money for them. So we have quite a lot doing that. And so that would just be to additionally fund those, because they're funded out of ESSER funds now, but as soon as that runs out, then they can't fund it anymore. So, and it's free to parents, which is always nice as well. So thinking about those things, is there something that sticks out as the first priority?
Well,
It's up to you.
yes, the faculty and staff, what are
What
your
do you two
priorities?
say?
I feel like mental health
Yeah.
is huge.
Yeah, I think this need is by far our biggest need here. And the way we always look at it, we look at it as kids first. What has the most impact for kids. So anytime we have anything, extra money, whatever, we always think of kids first. And then we also put our staff in that as well. So for us, this would be our number one. From there, I would say probably either one of these two. Just again, supporting our students, anybody who needs remedial work. Oh, I heard.
You
Yep.
heard me. Can you hear me?
Yep.
So Jack is doing the targeted tutoring, the student support, and it is probably the most amazing thing that can be done. I mean, outside of course, the mental health support, that I couldn't agree with that anymore. But that one-on-one and those affirmations and showing him the way, it's amazing. If I could click that twice, I would.
Super.
What would you look at? I think that lots of is also able to school to offer supports to kids that really the teacher doesn't have time during the day to offer. And yet maybe parents either don't have the educational background to offer or the finances to offer it. That would be my opinion, but I also come from a different lens than just parents.
Yeah. And the way we look at it too, the more you can impact our youngest learners, the more it benefits the kids as they move forward. So I would say probably number 2 for this one. Number 3 for this one.
Yep.
Okay. And then I would say again, coming back to somebody supporting our family is here. And then these two, I would probably say this one with the supports, and then this would be the last one here. All right. Did anybody have any other funding priorities not listed above you'd like to see?
I would like to see, I don't know if it's something that can be listed, but additional funding for additional staff. Funding for additional staff, and don't take it and set it that way when I started.
I'm just going to put classified and certified. Our classified staff would be our recess, our aides, people like that. Then certified would just be teachers or other people. Yeah, either one. Okay. All right, let me check online. You guys at home, you guys good with that? Hi, Jordan. All right. All right, that's good. Okay, so I will submit that. And then we will go back to our PSP update. It's your big moment.
So since last meeting, we had our trunk or treat. I think went really well. We involved the community. It was a lot of work, but it went really well. We had the biggest turnout we've ever had. We usually have between, I don't know, like 16 to 20 cars, and we had 30 signed up, 27 showed. So really good this time. I heard 6 things, I think. So the only thing that was kind of a bummer is we weren't able to get like a food truck or anything to come this time. It just wasn't working. And I also think too, because they're in the neighborhood now every single Tuesday, that kind of made an impact of them wanting to come because they're like, we're already here consistently. So, and then we did the Donuts with Dads was last Friday, which was huge. There were a ton of people. We weren't really sure how that was going to work, how people would feel about coming in and stuff, but it went really, really well, I think.
Yeah.
And then, why am I looking at you?
No.
And then we just wrapped, well, Butter Braids is wrapping up tomorrow. We earned, I think we're just under or right at the $4,000 mark that we earned this year, so, which is massive, comparatively. So I think that was a good surprise that people were buying a lot, so. Those will be delivered tomorrow at 2 o'clock. If anybody wants to come help, to pass those out to the classrooms or send the kids down to help us dolly those around. But they'll be delivered tomorrow too. So your kids will come home with Butter Braids, and if you are any of the people that have really big orders, we'll call you to come pick up your kid. They have to be frozen. Make sure you put them in the freezer, or they will start to defrost and rise. And then you have to eat them.
Bummer.
Bummer.
My name's Christina. Uh-huh. Okay. And let's see, we are looking into, we just kind of were emailing today about the Christmas party, maybe helping support Christmas party, staff gifts, things like that with the funds right now. And I think that's about it. I know we've got this dance coming up in January that we'll send out some communication about getting some help and some volunteers for that. But I think, doesn't the student council mostly put that on?
Student council puts it on, and we'll do our yearly candygrams
Yeah.
with the student dance.
Yep, that's
It's
right.
always good times.
So more information will come out about that.
Yep. If you don't value your hearing, you're more than welcome to come and volunteer. Just bring your earplugs.
Yeah, earplugs. Yeah, we'll have this chair for you to monitor the ins and outs. I think that's about it, really. Is there anything?
No, I know Donuts with Dads was a huge success. It's always fun to see all the trucks in our parking lot. It's so hilarious every year, and we had parents lining out the door super early. I
You
know.
showed up earlier this year.
Yeah, our trunk or treat was the first time ever we were able to partner with the HOA. They have typically not worked with us, but Christina, I don't know how she managed to work that magic, but she did, and we were able to probably, which like quadrupled our size. Our teachers ran out of candy. We bought candy the day of. We gave each teacher probably 3-4 bags, and they went through it
Yeah.
like
I think
that.
we had a
So
lot of cars leaving about 30 minutes before the event was over just because they didn't have candy.
Yep.
So
yeah, a big success. All right.
a lot of fun.
So the only thing we have left is our open forum. If there's any questions from inside or outside. Okay. Well, our next meeting, I think I put it on the bottom of the agenda. I'm pretty sure it's February 22nd. Yes, I totally guessed at that. The book fair is open. If you'd like to see, Mr. Bartuska is reading at 7, and I think I'm reading directly after that. There's always food, and it's always fun to come out and stay for that thing. That'd be a lot of fun. So check out our book fair, and we'll see you guys in February. Thanks for your time.
Where is?
It's in the cafeteria, Sierra. All right, Mr. Smith, Mr. Schroeder, thanks for tuning in. If you have any questions, don't forget to reach out. All right. Mr. Schroeder, stay out of the pool.
Okay, will do.
Take care.
Thanks. Bye.